Well, that sure was fun, playing a popular video game that people actually know. Well, back to Game & Watch. So this game is called Octopus. If you couldn't tell by the gigantic octopus that's sticking out there. Although if you live in Britain, you might know this game as Mysteries of the Sea, or Mysteries of the Deep. I don't know if it's something like the Helmet situation, where there's a secret sexual meaning behind the term octopus. They were the ones that brought us Octopussy, so... but they didn't want octopus, and they couldn't make up their minds on whether it should be Mysteries of the Sea or Mysteries of the Deep, so they just did both, I guess. I don't know. So the goal in this one is avoid the tentacles, naturally, and steal the octopus's treasure. Is it the octopus's treasure? I don't know. Have to come up with some plot elements here. But yeah, steal the treasure, get back to your boat with the treasure, and don't die. I'm in my boat. Nothing can hurt me now. You know, I think 40 gold is enough. I think, that oh no! The Will of Fate! The Will of Fate has made me jump in the water anyway. Oh no! Yeah, it's kind of similar to Helmet, where you have a brief moment of safety, but you're forced into the water whether you like it or not. There it is. Death. And we see you don't even get the guy doesn't just like spawn back, and it's not like, oh, that never happened. Like, no, there were 3 guys in that boat, there are now 2. Dark. And once again I die because I'm looking at the camera. Oh, well. It happened again. It happened again. Alright, well, that's great start. And the music, the sound effects in this one kind of sound like a Game & Watch version of the Jaws theme. Like, oh wait, copyright. I'm sorry. An octopus of that size is probably worth a lot more than whatever that gold is. I mean, plenty of sushi restaurants would kill to have an octopus like that. Is there a reason why you didn't bring the harpoons? That's all I'm saying.
I made a boo-boo, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes you can put yourself in a position where there's no hope.
Yes!
Like what that almost was, but, well. Didn't see that one coming. Oops. I just went for it there. And I paid the price. This is going great. One could say this is going swimmingly. I made sure that I was in the safe spot there before I turned to the camera. I'm slowly starting to learn. I said as I turned back to the camera while I was not in the safe spot. I didn't say I was learning fast. I just did it again. And I got bold there. Oh, so his... I have something I want to test once we get into hard mode. Speaking of that, hard mode! So essentially hard mode is just, it starts you off later in the speed. Naturally these games speed up as you go along, and I think this just starts you off later. I think the tentacles always had to go back in easy mode, like back all the way, whereas he can change his mind here. I think. I do research.
Don't ever use the word smart with me.
So So a little thing you can take advantage of here is that the last 3 tentacles are all in one spot, but the first tentacle can be in either of these 2 spots. So you can game the system that way, but obviously you're not going to be scoring any points, and if you're not scoring points, well, then why are you even playing this game? What are you, doing some dumb project where you're trying to play every single game in every single series chronologically that's featured in Super Smash Bros.? What are you, an idiot? Oh no! I got trapped again. Oops. Oop. Saw the writing on that wall. Okay, so each gold you bring back is worth 3 points, so it's the safe strategy is to take 1 and go back. Okay, now the sound effects are starting to sound like a slower Pac-Man to me. I think this is messing with my brain. Ah, shoot. So, something worth noting is that this game is featured in Game & Watch Gallery 1, the only one that was on the Game Boy original. I thought I pressed the right button there, but okay. And it's also featured in Game & Watch Gallery 4, which is the version that I'm playing here. No real differences to speak of, just the usual advantages that you see in the Game Boy Advance versus the Game Boy, so... Ooh. Saw that one coming. Wow. Did not see that one coming. But yeah, this is in Game & Watch Gallery 1 and 4, and unlike the previous example of that being the case with Manhole, this does have a modern version in both, which more or less play exactly the same, involving even the same characters, so the modern version is kind of just a remake of the Game Boy modern version, the GBA modern version, I should say, is a remake. I'm a commentary expert. I never stumble on my words ever. And I certainly can make commentary when I'm playing a game at the same time. It's actually really hard to walk and chew gum at the same time. I don't know if you knew that. He clearly didn't know that. Blew his mind. He was like, man, I can't go on living anymore. Just gotta jump in this water right as the octopus is about to eat me. I mean, to be fair, that guy probably has eaten octopus in the past, so, I mean, it's what we call karma. Maybe he'll get that PETA sponsorship after all. Yeah. I got greedy. What can I say? Well, before we move on to the next game in the lineup that I'll be playing today, it should be worth mentioning that in between this game and the next, there was another Game & Watch game. If you remember in the Donkey Kong video, I mentioned that it was originally going to be a Popeye licensed game, but they couldn't get the license in a timely manner. However, I guess it was more for making an arcade game that they couldn't get the license for, but just a couple months later, they were able to release a Popeye Game & Watch game. So I guess they were fine with a portable Popeye game, but not an arcade Popeye game? I don't know. They did eventually make an arcade Popeye game later, as I mentioned in a little pop-up in the Donkey Kong video. But yeah, the Popeye Game & Watch game, at least the first one, there were actually three releases, but the later two are the same game, just on different models of Game & Watch. But the first one was released in the widescreen series, and the goal was essentially Olive Oyl is throwing a bunch of crap outside the back of her car. I guess it's supposed to be like picnic stuff, that would be my guess. There's like pineapples and bottles of grape juice, obviously. And your goal as Popeye is to catch it all. And you're also supposed to avoid Bluto, who on the left side is bonking you on the head with a hammer, and on the right side is punching you. He doesn't show up on the right side in easy mode. There's the difficulty for you. Now, that game isn't in any of the Game & Watch Gallery games, and I'm sure it's possible for me to record it in some way. I'm sure someone's, put it out there. I mean, I'm going to be ripping video of it for use in editing during this segment, but it just seemed like it was a bit too much of a hassle for what it is. I mean, really, Popeye licensed game is not that important in the grand scheme of Smash history, right? So I felt it was only worth a mention here. It is part of the Game & Watch lineage, but Mr. Game & Watch doesn't have any Popeye moves, sorry to say. Anyway, with that said, speaking of Popeye, you know what he loves? Spinach. You know what goes great with spinach? Cooking! Did that make sense? I don't know. Next game. So this game is called Chef, and I mean, I couldn't tell you what this guy's profession is. It's anyone's guess. And you can already see that we're juggling a lot here with we got I think it's supposed to be sausage, bacon, and fish. Could be other things too. I don't know. Game & Watch graphics are funny. So you see that the objects here, the food objects, the foodstuffs, the breakfast material, and also fish, are falling at some variable speeds, and figuring out where to go first can be a bit of a hassle, so, you know, have fun commentating, Dylan. Fortunately, I do believe there's like a little bit of leeway in, there's a decent enough margin of error that it stays in the danger zone, I guess you could say, for a little longer than some other Game & Watch games, so it doesn't make me sweat any less, but then again, maybe that has nothing to do with the game. I think the food's done. Well, that mouse sure agrees. And where do all your chef friends go? Like, they start the flip and then they just leave you to just throw you under the bus? Leave you to the wolves? Or the cats? The mice? Yeah, that cat is basically there just to mess with you. Just to, oh, I'm gonna hold the sausage in place while you're floundering. Literally. Fortunately, at 200 points, all your misses get wiped out, so that's fun. And you may be wondering, with there being only 3 spots, why can you go all the way over here? Wouldn't you like to know?
Foreshadowing happens when...
So, like Octopus, this was on Game & Watch Gallery 4. Both games were released in the widescreen series, in case you were wondering. Where the widescrreen series went on for quite a while. It wasn't like Silver or Gold, where there's only like a small amount. They were pretty happy with widescreen, so they stuck with that for a little while. But yeah, this is in Game & Watch Gallery 4. It was originally also in Game & Watch Gallery 2. And once again, like with Octopus, there's a classic and modern version, and once again, the modern version from 2 was remade in 4. Otherwise, yeah, it's basically the same in both, barring the improvements that you would see from the Game Boy Advance coming from the Game Boy Color. So, there's your dedicated trivia time for this one. I can officially call this Smash History now. Because you have a history lesson. Kinda, sort of. Not really, but, you know. I can pretend. I should also mention, I apologize in advance, and also, I guess, for previous videos, where if there's some weird desyncing issues with the audio here, I don't think it has anything, it doesn't have anything to do with my recording setup, it's just, I think it has something to do with the emulation of this, which I'm totally not doing, I'm definitely playing this legally. But yeah, I think that I've noticed that the audio can get desynced just playing the game. And that's it. The mouse is well fed. Huzzah. I think we played that game enough. I don't think we need to go any further with that. We can move on to hard mode. And as an answer to the earlier query, that's what the 4th spot is for. If this wasn't chaotic enough... Yeah, I'll notice when I'm syncing the audio before I start recording, I always try to sync up, do a little quick sync between the audio of the microphone and everything with the gameplay, and I'll notice that sometimes the sound of me moving the cursor in the game menu is like on time with me actually moving it, and sometimes it's a little delayed. It's really weird. So, I mean, it's not like we're playing something that's like where the sound really matters all that much. But you know, as much as I claim to love the game and watch soundtracks, quote unquote, you know, there's no actual music being played. It doesn't matter. So, but I felt it was worth mentioning, since it's something that I've noticed both during recording and editing in these Game & Watch videos. So, yeah, gonna be honest, I don't know what I was supposed to do there. Whew. I don't know what I was supposed to do there either, but somehow I made it work. So, the spirit of the Food Network is within me. Don't drop the sausage, you donut! So, I mean, I know LCD screen games aren't that complicated, so I know there's probably some predictable algorithm with, you know, when the food falls and how fast it falls and all of that. I'm just too stupid to pick it out, at least in this case. So, here we are, failing miserably.
Damn, not here.
So close. Hey, but it ended on the funny number, so, you know, you take the wins where you can find them. That's an example of a weird audio hiccup in the game that I'm catching in recording and not editing, so I'm not crazy. I mean, I'm blaming the emulator, but maybe it was just like this on the cartridge too, I don't know. I mean, of course it's like this on the cartridge, because that's how I'm playing this. Got my GameCube and my Game Boy player set up and everything. Don't arrest me, or sue me, or do anything legal. I'm a good boy. I don't think I'm making a good case for today's sponsor, which, you know, in case you're wondering what happens when you normally combine an octopus and a chef, you get fish that you can eat. This is a poke bowl, but you could also get sushi. And I don't know, I was running out of ideas, man. I found some leftovers in the fridge, and can I get some real sponsors already? Raid Shadow Legends, where you at? Not even any octopus in this.